Hi everyone. Today I'm at a little place called Nant Ddu, or it might be pronounced Nant Ddu, which literally translates to Black Stream. Now, this is a little cemetery that's fairly close to Penafan in the Brecon Beacons, and now it's just a cemetery, but it used to have a church here called St Mary's Church. Now, I spent quite a lot of time on the internet trying to find out any information about this place, but there's hardly anything. I did find out a few things, such as there's been a chapel on this site since 1548. The last church building that was here was made in 1864, and unfortunately, it was taken down, dismantled in 1998, and all that remains now is this small base. I found a picture online of what the church used to look like, so I'll stick that on now. Now, I believe this picture was taken in 1994, and as you can see, it's in the right state. So, understandably, they knocked it down in 1998. But it's just such a shame because although it is quite nice that they still got the base here, so you can see where the church would have been originally. How much nicer would it have been to have the original church? And we're in a really touristy area here. If you're going from Merthyr Tydfil to Brecon, you drive past this church. It seems like back in the 80s and 90s, they did this quite often. They'd just take the churches down. And I did see one little report on the internet that someone was planning to make a house here, but that obviously never happened. My wish is that the future buildings, the ones that are getting in a state now, don't get taken down. And that's a lot of the reasons I'm going around doing these tours, to make people aware of them, and hopefully they don't become ruins themselves. There's plenty of really nice gravestones here, and nothing modern at all. So I don't know. I didn't find out which is the newest gravestone, but they're all fairly old. One thing people don't realise, or don't know, shall I say, is that this is a cemetery now, and it's looked after by the council, and it's all nice and trimmed here. So at least they're doing something. But it would have been classed as a graveyard. But now there's no church. The church would have deconsecrated the ground, and it turned it into a cemetery. This is why it's known, if you look on Google Maps, as a cemetery here. And I think this is part of the problem when you try and look up on history of St Mary's Church. It's not recognised. It's only a cemetery. So there's like a information plaque that's just outside the walls of the graveyard itself, and even that doesn't say too much of the history. It mentions a few of the gravestones, and one of them, it says about, I think it was from around 1890. There was a guy buried here, and he was the first one to have an English name. Now, when they say the first one, do they mean the first one in this graveyard or the first one in Wales? It didn't really say a lot else to explain it. Another gravestone here somewhere was a guy who got run over by a stagecoach, which sounds a bit bizarre. So it looks like even the council itself don't know much about this church or the history of it. So if any of you are watching the video and you're a local, or you used to live here, please put some history down in the comments. Let me know, because I'll be very interested to know the reasons why the church was in decline so badly, and when that started to happen. Now, here on this site, there's actually three very nice yew trees, and one of them is stated as being ancient. Another one is a notable one, and this one here is the smallest one, and it's a really nice one. It's full of the red berries at the minute. It's the time of year when they come out. As you can see, it's fairly small, this one. I didn't measure it, but it looks around 3.5 meters around. So the people that go round and assess these trees don't even count that as a notable tree. This one here is classed as a notable tree, and these are all female trees. You can tell a yew is a female because it has the berries. The male one doesn't have that. But this one is classed as a notable tree, and the girth of it measures around 3.8 meters. Now, you normally measure that around 4 or 5 foot up, especially on a tree like this. This is quite upright. Some of the trees, especially the older ones, are a lot wider lower down. So this yew here is classed as the ancient one, and it measures roughly 4.5 meters around. Now, if you go back to what the history was, it said there was a chapel here first in 1548. So that's, 500 years ago, shall we say. To be an ancient tree, they class the tree about 500 or 600 years old. So this tree would have either just been fairly new when the first chapel was put here, or maybe 100 years old already, and that's the reason they probably would have put a church here. The yew trees are very special, and here in Wales you'll often find these in the really nice churches themselves. Underneath this yew I found the gravestone of the guy we talked about earlier, who was the first non-Welsh named person to be here. So he was quite lucky to get buried under the tree. Now behind the church there's a lovely little river, and it's very low at the minute because we haven't had rain here for a couple of months now. So I'm going to leave you with footage of the river, and then I've also taken some drone footage that you can watch and see what it looks like from above. So I hope you like the video, and please hit like and subscribe for me. bye.